We're live. Hi, and welcome to Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and today I am here with go-go
And
dancer Angelino. How you doing today, sexy?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I am good. Work. So, where are you originally from?
So originally I'm from Puerto Rico, and then I had moved here to Florida when I was about 7, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah. So I am a native Floridian. I'm planning on moving this year because I
Okay.
just yeah.
Where do you
I
plan on moving?
I'm planning on moving to Detroit.
Ooh, what made you move over there?
Well, the thing is, like, not only is like Detroit super cheap, but it's also I'm a musician and I'm planning on putting out an album this year. So like
Right.
Detroit will be like the perfect place for me to be able to like afford to live and make this album. Like
Okay.
it'll
That's
be nice.
pretty
I'm
nice.
planning on doing it like 2-3 months. I'm planning on moving in June and having the album out by hopefully September.
Oh, okay. That's a good
Yeah.
time lapse.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean the
Detroit.
whole
Wow.
yeah. The whole thing's written. I just have to go into the studio and actually record it. Like that's
Right. So what kind of music do you do?
Uh, I describe it as like electro pop rock and B because I kind of have like a little bit of flavors of each of those
Right.
depending on like what mood I'm in.
Right. Okay. That's good. I need to check that out for sure.
Yeah, it's something where like as I describe this album, it's very much like a passion project of mine because there are songs on it that I've written like 9 years ago, and then there are some songs that I wrote like 3 months ago.
Mm.
Like put
Oh
them all
wow.
together. It's like a culmination of everything. It's a very raw album, which
Right.
when a lot of people think of electronic music, they think of like just very like shallow, surface based lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically this is a very graphic way of describing it, but it's basically like I basically like am letting the world in and like spreading myself and showing the world my whole. Like literally that's how
Right.
I would describe this album. Like
A whole discography.
yes.
That's so funny.
Yes. So, what was it like for you growing up as a kid?
So growing up, I would say it was pretty normal, pretty easy. Single mom, 3 kids, pretty easy. We lived in Puerto Rico, then we moved here. Um, Nothing much really. How about you?
So, I would say overall, I'll say this. I have like the like childhood of what I call contradictions because it's like
Mm,
I was raised in this conservative like Catholic household on one
mm-hmm.
front, but my mom was also the one who introduced me to Madonna, introduced me to Cher, introduced me to Joan Rivers, all
All the
this
gay
stuff.
icons.
Yes, so I had like yes, it's like I had
Literally.
all these gay icons on one side, and then
Mhm.
I remember what was it? This is this is again going to show my age. Um, when I was a kid, like I remember when Madonna was on like the disco cross on the Confessions tour, and everybody was like making
Mm.
this big hoopla about it. I'm like, what's the big deal? Even at that point, I was like, what's the big deal? Like I just,
Right.
I mean, it was the time. I mean, I would say this growing up in the 2000s, like it was crazy to see how like people reacted to stuff because
Right.
America was such a conservative country then.
Yeah,
It's got its
that is
own
so
like
true.
conservativeness now, but I don't think it's as bad as it was back then.
Yeah, I agree. Like after Obama and like establishing certain things, and then after like Trump and people kind of realizing like how they had it when Obama was there, the whole comparison, and then it coexisting with itself. So it's like you were saying, less conservative before, for sure.
So that conservative upbringing leads me into my next question. So what was it like for you coming out?
For me coming out, it was pretty easy. I just like had told my mom. I was like, hey, I'm gay. I've been feeling this type of way for a while. I was about 14 when I came out, about 14, 13. And at first she was emotional about it, but then after she kind of like realized that, she kind of had no other option. She was gonna like love me regardless, and she didn't really care. It did take like maybe a couple weeks for reality to set. It's normal, but after that, she was just like very normal about it.
See, that is so nice.
Mm,
Like, I would love. Well, okay, I'll put it this way: I had both an easy and hard coming out.
okay.
The
How was
easy
it
part
like?
was the easy part was family. So like, I say in some ways I did not get to come out to my mom, but that's because I came out 4 months after my mom died.
Oh wow.
So it's
I'm so
only
sorry.
thank you. I had to come out to, like, at first my dad, and then like I have an older sister. My older sister was super accepting. And then
Right.
like fast forward to like November of last year, my sister came out herself, so I'm like, well, now that makes
Oh
sense.
wow.
Yeah. And then the rest of
Wow.
my family was fine. Now to the bad part. So I came out to a youth minister at the church, and I told him about this
Mm,
performance idea I had with like a knife and how I practiced stabbing myself because I'm dramatic,
right.
obviously.
Period.
And like he left the room, he came back about 10 minutes later. He said, okay, you have one of two options: either you're coming with me or I'm calling the cops.
Oh my god.
Now, in hindsight, I would have let him call the cops.
Mm,
Instead, I went with him.
mm.
He took me to get a psych eval
Oh wow.
at a hospital.
Mm-mm.
They had told me I had passed it.
Mm.
And then I was on the phone with my dad. I'm like, hey, come back here and get me. I'm all good. Like, and then I had a cop yell at me. He's like, get off the phone. I'm thinking, like, what the fuck is going
Wow.
on? Like,
What the
I'm just over here,
fuck?
like, minding my own business. And then they put me in, like, a hospital room.
Right.
And for 5 hours, they didn't tell me anything. They just left me in there.
Oh
And then
wow.
at, like, 2 o'clock, yeah, at 2 o'clock in the morning, then the next day, they
Mm.
told me they had done what's called Baker acting, which is when they put you on a suicide hold.
Right.
And I got transported from the hospital to behavioral clinic where I had to. I didn't do the full time.
Mm.
I was brought in on a weekend, which was the unfortunate part because if I'd been brought in during the
Right.
week, I probably would have been let out in one
It's
day. Instead,
it's
I
kind of
had to
like
end up.
jail.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely like jail. It's literally they
With the
take
whole
everything
time.
from you. The only difference is they let you keep your clothes, but they take your wallet, your phone, your keys, your shoes. They put them in a
Mm.
Ziploc bag, which you get back when you're done.
Right.
And literally the first night I was there, they had like a bed next to the like reception desk, so like that's where you're sleeping.
Oh wow. That's crazy.
And then after I got out, the the youth minister and a priest trapped me in a room with a therapist who tried to pray the gay away.
Oh my god. Mm-mm-mm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That must have been intense too. And I would have been feeling like it was like that movie, Get Out. I would have been feeling like that. Oh my god.
I mean, it is like it's not the worst thing. I mean, it could have been worse. Like I could have been in an actual psych ward where, well, I mean, I say that lightly. I was scared, but I wasn't as scared as if they had thrown me in like a room in a place with like padded cells and stuff like that. That would have
Right,
freaked me out.
right. For
But as I say, that was my coming out. Actually, a lot of people say it's the like most glorious time in their life.
real.
That was the start of what I call my like 7-year struggle.
Right.
Because in that time, in like 7 years between like the ages of 18 and 25, I was suicidal twice.
Mm.
I got raped and I got sexually assaulted. Like,
Wow.
and that's honestly what I wrote on the. That's what the album basically is. Like,
Mm.
it's me looking at like my teen years and like my 20s as I like leave my 20s this year,
Mm.
looking back and like putting my pain into the album,
Mm-hmm.
which it's beautiful, but it's, as I say, it's beautiful to think, and like some people wouldn't like this. Some people think it's fucked up to think this way, but it's like it's nice to know that the world will be dancing to my pain.
Right. Mm.
Well, okay. So I guess I'll change this question because you moved to Orlando as a kid. Have you ever thought
Right.
about leaving Florida?
Plenty of times. Plenty of times. I cannot count how many times I've been wanting to move. I mean, so I used to live in Kissimmee. I did not like it there, and then I ended up moving to Orlando, and then now I do like it here because I live in downtown, but I'm trying to move to Fort Lauderdale, right?
Yeah.
So Fort Lauderdale has affordable housing in some areas, and La Boy, which is a gay strip club, they have a lot of options there. Like it's way more, the scene is more active than what we have here in Orlando.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I know that because I lived in Orlando at one point. I lived in Orlando
Mm,
actually. So I'm in South Florida now. I lived in
okay,
Orlando for 4 years,
okay.
and then I moved
Oh, wow.
back. But it's like I'm not in the like Fort Lauderdale part. I'm like an hour and a half north of that. I'm like in small
Mm,
suburb South
mm,
Florida,
mm-hmm.
aka not fun. I mean, I like Fort Lauderdale. This is the thing. This is what I say. Fort
Mm-hmm.
Lauderdale is a great place to visit.
Mm.
I mean, for you wanting to be a go-go dancer, it would make sense that
Right.
you'd want to live in Fort Lauderdale because you've got La Boy, you've got Boardwalk, you've got
Mm-hmm. Eagle, um,
yeah,
Wilton Manors area, you know.
yeah. Which by the way, I will tell you off camera, somebody that like you should start like following and getting in touch with is somebody that I know who's like a promoter down there. So like
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I actually just saw him because I was just down there this weekend. It was
Oh my
only
God.
yeah.
Don't play because I was literally there too, like
Yeah, you were there with
last week.
yeah, you were there with Justify and a bunch of people, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, yeah, no. Justify and I are friends. Like
Period.
I've actually interviewed him on here before. I've been trying to get him back since like he
Oh my
started go-go
God.
dancing, but it's like
Uh-huh.
between his schedule and like my schedule cuz like
Uh-huh.
at some point I thought, oh, I'm gonna slow down, and then I keep on just booking and booking and booking and booking people. So like,
Right. Actually,
yeah,
Justify came over my house like last weekend too. So definitely a time that we can all schedule. I can even have Justify come by and then we could all do a session.
yes,
For
I'd love that. I'd love that. I've been. My thing is, I'm planning on before I move. I've
hmm.
seen pictures of Stiffies. I've never been. I'm hoping to go like before I move.
Oh
Just
my
like,
God. It's fun, you know. I like the environment of Stiffies. It's good. I feel like, you know, they give everyone a chance, you know, compared to um Lavoy, because I know Lavoy not, you know, some people might get in, some people might not. But I know that Stiffies usually gives everyone a chance. For example, like when I had auditioned, I was told that I was like a little too feminine, a little too skinny, and but he still gave me the chance. He was like, "Oh, you know, just show up for audition, see how it goes," and then boom, passing with flying colors. And then he started booking me for more days at Stiffies.
yeah.
So yeah, I think they're pretty good.
But I mean, first of all,
Mm.
that thing of your two something. I mean, let's put it this way:
Mm.
if you look at clubs like not even in Florida, you look at clubs like outside of. I'm going to use an example. As much as I hate Los Angeles, I'm going to use an example for this. Like, if you look at clubs like the
The
Abbey,
Abu,
they
yeah.
have like the most masculine dancers there, but they also have um Bryant, who was on Go Go for the Gold, who's like a heel bitch, who's like
Mm.
constantly there. So it's like to say something's too. There's something for everybody. There should be something for
Right.
everybody.
That was literally my thought too, and I kind of take that comparison with Lavoy and Stiffies. So I
Yeah,
noticed that like with Stiffies, they're more like masculine, more like we like bigger guys type of vibe. But with Lavoy, I noticed that they were more catering to everyone. Like we had someone
yeah,
performing with the heels, then we had a mask guy, then we just had like a normal duet. Like LaBoy was catering more towards everyone compared to
yeah.
Stiffies. Like that's something that I do notice.
First of all, stop saying that Stiffies is like very masculine. Justify works at Stiffies. Justify is so
No,
fucking
because
femme. Like,
no, literally, but he, you know, he looks more masked, you know.
yeah, I
So
know.
I'm just like, they've told me before and other dancers that, you know, we can't wear certain stuff because of the crowd, and that this is a bear bar, as they like to call it. But I don't know. I still show up and do my thing.
No, because I mean, listen, at the well, I mean, it's because you're working at Stiffies. You're probably if I mean, granted, I know there's not a lot in Orlando. Like
Hmm.
that's why I thought about when I moved back here, I thought about moving back to Orlando at one point, and then
Hmm.
like when let's see, what was it? You probably know this. You probably know this place, even if you like snuck in when you were like younger,
Hmm.
like illegally snuck in. I used to perform at Parliament House back.
Right.
Yeah, and like once that closed, I'm like, I'm never going back to Orlando. Like,
Right. That you know, a lot of people that come to Stiffies, first of all, a lot of the bartenders from Parliament House work at Stiffies. Second, a lot of people that come to Stiffies, they do mention Parliament House. And they're like, you know, it's never going to be the same. You
yeah,
know, it was a different vibe. And I completely believe it. You know, a lot of shit has gotten PG to the point where, like, you know, it's not even, you know, it's different. It's different.
well, yeah, but it's also actually, you know what? I'm gonna stop talking because we're eventually I'm gonna spoil some of my questions if I keep talking. So okay. So what made you want to become a go-go dancer?
So what made me become a go-go dancer was that I've always been into being pretty, being attractive, keeping up with myself. I've always loved, taking care of myself, taking care of my image. And also having a background in sex work. I used to do sex work. I used to be a sex worker. And that kind of branched me out to meeting clients and meeting people. And I just wanted, and once I found out about Stiffies, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna give Stiffies a try. And then that was my first time dancing here in Orlando. I did dance in Puerto Rico as well when I would travel back and forth and worked at Sex the Club, which is like a popular like touristy club that a lot of people go to. But yeah, having like a background of sex work kind of introduced me more to the dance life and having, female friends who are dancers too.
Yeah. I mean, that's so amazing. First of all, I'm going to point this out. Anyone who wants to judge sex workers, well, this is my view on it. It's like,
Right.
have I actively done sex work? No.
Hmm.
But like, have I gotten paid for sex before? Yes. Because my
Hmm.
view is, and this I guess is probably like the most progressive view you can have. I'm not going to actively look for it, but if you're going to offer me money, I'm going to take it.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. And
No.
it's an exchange of energy, And I'm actually reading this book. It's funny that it's even right next to me, but it's called The Energy of Money. Really good book. Really teaches you like how to have a relationship with money, but it kind of ties to that, making an income out of anything. And if you're getting paid to do that, see,
Yeah. I mean,
like period.
yes, I have that, as I said, I have like a love hate view of money because it's like,
Hmm.
well, it's actually, it goes down to America. I have a very
Right.
much a hate view of capitalism. Like, I'm someone like
Hmm.
who's very much like, I am like described as like socialist leaning on communist, meaning like a
Hmm.
lot of people who hate on communism. Communism is like a great idea in theory. The problem
Hmm.
is you let people get involved in communism. That's where that's where like,
That don't have that mentality.
yeah, that don't have that mentality, and
Hmm.
that's where communism
Hmm.
eventually leads to fascism. Is
Hmm.
because you let somebody take control of anything. Where when you break down communism at its basic core, it's taking care of the people.
Right. The community, the
Yeah,
commune.
yeah,
Exactly. I agree.
yes.
Hmm.
So
I
okay,
love
so
it.
what I'll say, what made me want to become a drag queen? Because I always say, I found drag on accident. So it's like
Mm.
when I started performing in Orlando, I was kind of just performing as my boy self, and like, I actually say I always have like the different story than most people because like
Mm.
most drag queens got started at the gay bars with everyone who's like their friends and all their stuff.
Right.
I got started in open mic nights and straight bars. So like
Mm.
I was performing with like six other bros who were like, or no, like six, seven, eight, nine other bros who were all sitting there playing guitar, like doing the
Wow.
same shit over and over again. And like I'd sign myself up first and like go into these bars and cafes, thumping these electronic beats in these like tiny little bars and singing and kind of like yelling, giving the like energy of like giving the energy because I knew like
Mm.
I knew it's like I know this. I was like, motherfuckers are gonna fall asleep when I'm done. Like, I might as well like.
No. Oh my
Although,
God.
although in terms of, I did get in trouble once. So like, well, not in trouble. I got told not
Uh-huh.
to do something, so I'd ended one of my
Mm.
sets one week by screaming "motherfucker" into the microphone and like going into a dance break, and then the following week the owner came out from behind the bar came to my table, brought me my water. She's like, "Yeah, there's old people in the audience this week. Don't do that." I'm thinking, first of all, girl,
Oh
that's not my
my
set this
god.
week. And
Right.
second of all, it's like, I'm sorry, am I not at a fucking bar? Like,
Right.
you're gonna. They censored me and they censored a comedian. Like, a
Oh
comedian,
my
like,
god, no.
made this joke about, like, a stripper sliding down the stripper pole with her pussy. And they're like, don't do that. I'm like, what are these people actually coming to watch?
Right.
Like, if we can't
Right.
do what we do.
Right. Right. Like you're trying to break out the outside the box of it, but
No. Yeah.
the government and these corporations and these people, they're crazy.
It's like, this is my thing. When people, like, I say be you. I would say be you unless you have a, like, really, really shitty personality, in which case just
Mm.
shut up. Like, be you,
Right.
or
Period.
and it's like, be genuine. Like, I see some
Right.
people who are like, I had this friend who I actually met on here, somebody I interviewed like multiple times. Like,
Mm.
they were casting themselves off as a musician, and then, like, one day they basically, like, in the span of a month, they
Mm.
went back to doing everything that they basically contradicted everything they had said on my
Mm.
podcast for the 4 months beforehand.
Mm.
And
Mm-mm-mm.
then I thought we were friends, cool. I talked like amazing, and then, like, I went to go to on Instagram one day and I found out they unfollowed me. I'm like,
Girl.
I'm thinking, girl, if you have a problem with me, like, fucking talk to me. Like,
Yeah, be an adult. Like just
yeah,
reach out.
it's like, if you're mad at what I'm saying, like, because I was posting a lot of stuff of I'm always an artist first. Some people, like, just see doing music as like wearing a hat that you can take
Right.
on and off.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think he like that. But
Right.
I'm like, anyway.
Right. I feel that because like for example, like what I wear at the club is different than what I wear outside of the club. But at the same time, some people have this misconception that you have to like, be this, look a certain way to be a certain way. So like you were just mentioning, like it's a hat that you take off. It's not a hat that you take off. Like it's not even a hat.
Yeah,
It's who you are. So like
yeah,
I'll wear, whatever I want, anything sensual outside of the club, and it still correlates with who I am. But
yeah.
I don't have to be like doing the most wearing like club wear outside.
It- well, first of all, this is the way I'm gonna put it. Not all of us have the luxury of being Lady Gaga. Like,
Right.
we can't
Right.
just we can't
Miss
like
Art
walk
Pop.
around. Yeah, it's like,
Right.
you don't think if I could just walk around in like a t-shirt, dress, and fishnets that I wouldn't do it on the daily, and a wig.
I mean,
Yes,
that
I
sounds cute. I would wear that. I would wear that out in
yeah
public. Yeah.
yeah, but it's like, I can't show up to work like that. Well,
Right.
that's why when somebody said, like, you should do you should do, I think it was like something, I work at like an office, and they're like doing like, you should do drag at one point. I'm like, my drag's not appropriate for anything. My drag's barely appropriate for a bar. Like,
Right. They were trying to have you do drag at work.
yeah, I'm like, I can't do this shit here.
I'm so
Like,
dead.
this is my thing. Some people, here's my view. There are some drag queens who are like, yes, let me read books to kids. My view is, do not bring your fucking kids to my show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unless you want to, like, warp their mind as I'm simulating getting fucked by a backup dancer. But it's like,
Right. That's crazy.
so,
Did you
okay.
did, did you hear about the whole Diddy thing?
Oh, the whole did yeah.
Oh my god, that shit's crazy.
But it's first of all, it's not even like the first time that it happened. Like,
Right,
well, here's what Diddy should have realized. It's like Diddy should turn himself in. I'm like, do y'all forget? Or
right.
I would tell Diddy, I'm like, do you forget what happened to R. Kelly not that long ago?
Not
And
that
you're
long ago.
yeah, and you're doing the same shit. You should have just turned yourself in.
Right, right,
And and now everyone's like, first of all, I hate when people seem like they're shocked that it happened. It's like,
right. We've been known Hollywood is on this bullshit.
well, it's because especially like with that, it's I'm gonna speak more to the gay stuff. It's like look at how Hollywood treated gay people. Let's go back to the 2000s. The 2000s was not that long ago. Like
Hmm.
when you think about it, and you what was it? I remember Rosie O'Donnell talking about when she first heard about Will and Grace, and she was surprised that it actually stayed on the air
Right,
because nobody was doing that. Queer as folk, like
right, right.
queer as yeah. The one in the
That's it.
2000s. Do not. I'm not talking about the one that NBC tried to make that was trash. I'm talking
Right.
about the
The early
Showtime show.
2000s one.
Yeah,
That was a good one.
yeah. But it's like that showed how bad it was, and it's like we've come, as I say, gay people have come somewhat far, but it's like we haven't come as far as like I was just having this discussion with somebody I interviewed in the UK. The UK is like 1,000 times further in less time. They've gone 1,000
Mm,
times like further than the
mm.
US has in like the span of I think like 10 years.
Oh wow. Like more advanced.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. Yes. So, what was it like for you the first time you performed?
So the first time I performed, I remember going in and then, getting my key, then getting my locker. It was it was different than I expected. Like it was more like I felt like it was in alignment with what I'm supposed to do. Like I knew that I was gonna have fun and dance and make a little money, but it was more fulfilling than I thought it would be. Like I felt like I was in the right place in the right time, and then this is just the beginning of something better.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? My first time, I'll say my first time performing at a gay club. It was different. Like,
Mm,
because I was the person who, like, for the long, well, actually, no, I did this for 5 months until I realized it was too much. I used to be that bitch who did two shows a
mm,
night at two different venues. So, like,
mm,
I would leave my house at like every Thursday. I would leave my house at 7 o'clock at night
mm.
and not get home till 12:30 in the morning.
Wow.
So it's like I used to do that hustle, and it's like I loved it, but it's like
Mm,
eventually, it just got to be too much because it's like because the thing was I got home at 12:30. I had to get up at 4
mm.
to be to my job at 6:30, where I had to work till 8 p.m.
Wow.
So like
That's like 12 hours, literally.
yeah, yeah, it was a lot. I loved it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I would be for anyone from Detroit watching, I would be willing to do it again if I have to. I don't want to, but I can
Right.
because that's my thing that I always say when like and the other reason I want to leave Florida is because Florida, as you were talking about, kind of Florida is very cliquey in terms of entertainers.
Right.
Meaning, like if you don't know the right person you're out. Like that's why
Right.
I don't perform hardly at all because the drag queens in my area are like because I have the gall to sing live and not lip sync.
Mm.
They
Period.
yeah.
Tuh. Period. Don't play with her.
Because I'm thinking I'm like, first of all, I've done literally just through this podcast, which started because I couldn't get people
Mm.
to perform.
Right.
It's like, especially in the last year, because I only started interviewing people like a year ago. It's like I've been able to get people to know who I am, not
Mm.
only throughout the United States, but in the UK,
Right.
Spain, Colombia, um, Mexico, Australia. Like
Period.
I've hit it, and it's like I've met I've met like famous people, famous like I've met like. Granted, I love people like Angelino. I love interviewing all types of people. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten a chance to meet like Greg McKeon, Ricky Roman, Michael
Mm.
Roman,
Mm.
uh, Dalton Riley, like all these people who are like somewhat known, and it's like
Mm.
I always tell people if you think that you get into any industry and you're just handed stuff, baby, that's not how it works. And it's like if you are
Mm.
handed stuff, usually that gives you like
You should use it as leverage, you know?
well, it's not only that, it usually yields for untalented people to try
Mm.
and do stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like the drag queens who are handed shit, the go-go dancers who are just like happen to like
Girl,
get into the
don't get
industry
me
because they
started
know
on certain
somebody.
people. Like, for real. Like, I've noticed that, depending on the club or whatever, I noticed on my experience with working at the different clubs, there are certain people that they, like you were saying, they just get handed stuff and then that's the talent isn't recognized. Like some people have a body and can dance, some people literally have no body and can't dance, and they still get, the prize. Like, I kid you not, when we went to Miami, when Justify and I were auditioning, we were on stage and it was five of us. So it was me, Justify, and three other boys. So when we
Yeah,
got on stage, they had to call Justify first, and then he did a set. Then I was second, I did a set, and then three other people did a set. Mind you, the fifth person did not do a set because he was new and he was auditioning and he was giving someone a lap dance in a private room. So he was busy over there and he wasn't hearing that they were like calling him on stage. So he had missed his turn. Mind you, this boy, no tea, no shade, everyone deserves a chance. But this boy didn't know how to dance, literally did a handstand and fell on his head. He got off the stage and went up to us and was like, "Oh, like how they say white boys have no rhythm? Yeah, that's me." You know, that he was just he knew he wasn't as talented, so they have us all go on stage at once and try to like dance to see like who the crowd is going to choose to be the winner because there was a prize at the end. So if
yeah,
you're auditioning for La Boy, they have you audition with other dancers, but then the winner gets 300, no, 250. They get 250. So after that, everyone is doing it. Justify did really good. I did really good. The other dancers did really good. This guy did not even dance. And then they just randomly had him go up while we were dancing and he did a handstand and fell. And long story short, girl, he still won. This man still won, beat all of us to the T. I was on the pole hitting it. Justify was on the pole hitting it. We were showing talent. We were showing everything. He didn't even couldn't move, and when he tried to move he fell, and he won because of looks and because I'm not trying to be that person, but a certain race. And yeah, so he won based on being masked, and he won the 250. We were happy for him, of course, but it's like, damn, we were all so talented that none of us got a chance to win, but this person didn't have any talent. And it was mainly based on the fact that this person looks like a cis man. And then after we got off, a bunch of dancers were coming up to us and they were like, "Oh my God, you guys should have won. Either either Justify or you would should have won. I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on. This is a little weird." And yeah, no tea, no shade, but it happens in certain parts of the
Betty,
industry.
I know it. I
You
know it.
know it. You know it.
No, it happened to me. It
Like,
happened to me last year. It happened to me last year.
and
Okay.
and you're gonna have to tell me.
So
Like,
I was auditioning to perform at Pride in my area.
first of all, do you mind if I roll up as you tell the story?
What?
Do you mind if I roll up as I tell the story? As you tell that story?
What do you mean roll off?
No, like roll up, like.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Oh, sorry, my
Okay,
bad.
period.
My
No,
bad.
you're good.
So
Go
like,
ahead.
okay. So I was. Here's the thing. It was me and one other person. Like we were both competing to perform at Pride.
Right.
This
But
other.
what pride was this though?
It was in my area. Like it was just
Okay,
local
okay,
Pride.
okay, okay.
But it was like first person that person, no problem, went off without a hitch. They handed him a microphone. Everything was fine. He sounded. I would give this person a 5 at best.
Okay, period.
Then
Um.
I go up to perform.
Mhm.
The DJ starts playing my track. I'm literally having to tell the host of the show. Luckily, I had an instrumental, like an intro instrumental
Mhm.
in. I'm like, I need a microphone.
Like for real.
Yeah. And then literally I had to go like right in to the verse.
Right.
And even with that, I fucking killed it. Like,
Period.
and I lost.
Oh my God, no. People don't know how to recognize talent nowadays, if we have to be real.
Yeah, and one of the judges was like, "Oh, you only lost by 2 points." I'm in the back of my mind. I'm like, "Stop fucking lying to me. I know I should have won by 4, at
No,
least."
literally. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, that's how it is as well at Stiffies. Me and Justify and other dancers, we realized like a common theme with certain dancers, and we kind of learn to accept it because we can always, dance at another club or freaking broaden our horizons. Stiffies isn't the end of the world, but we actually plan on going to Lavoy more
Yeah.
often because Lavoy is amazing in terms of money.
See, I've never been. I've been to a few places there. I've been to I just went to Boardwalk this weekend, which
Okay, how'd you like it?
was it was like it was kind of okay. I would say this: the dancer. I'm gonna shut up because it was my friend's event, so I'm gonna shut up and not say anything. But like,
No, spill the tea. No,
okay, fine,
you don't
okay,
have to use
fine.
names. We can use code names.
Well, he knows that he saw me because like I went out of drag because like I was gonna go in drag, but like
Right.
I just
Thank
I
you.
actually will say this. I was with my man. Like, thank God he put up with me because I was like getting
But this
ready
was
and
at
like
Boardwalk.
yeah. This was
Okay.
at my hotel room. I was getting ready to we were
Okay.
going to
Okay.
Boardwalk.
Okay.
So it's like
Thank you.
I went there and like I went to go put on my bodysuit and like it didn't fit. And I'm like
Hmm.
and I had a reality show like style like flip out. I'm like fuck this. I hate Florida. I just cuz I know I put on weight. I put on weight cuz I'm stressed. Like I'm stressed about moving and it's like
Right.
it's just anyway. So then like I eventually just like ended up changing out of it. Anyway, so like we got there. The dancers were okay,
Mm.
but it's like
In terms of
I
look, you mean, or performance?
performance. Looks
Okay, okay.
looks were not a problem. Performance was like I'm like, this is the same club where I've seen a bitch literally slide down the pole in heels and twerk as they're like sliding down the pole.
Mm.
And I'm like, and this was Saturday night. I'm like,
I thought it would be jumping.
I thought so too, but I'm like, whatever. So I mean, it's okay. And then actually, the surprising thing was, so speaking to that back room, I was very naive. I'm like, I had like a dancer like just he
So
was
you,
like letting people. He was like letting people play with his dick, and then like
oh my god.
all
So
of a
you
sudden
have to
he's like,
share a room with the dancers?
well, no, he said like you come with me,
Oh.
and like I naively like the innocent little kid. I'm like, okay, where are we going? And then like all of a sudden he's like, he had like the bouncer for the room, and basically he's like, so it's $30 to get in. And I'm thinking, I'm good, baby. Bye.
So they were trying to charge you when you were
Yeah,
trying to perform?
yeah. No, 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 not to perform. They're trying to charge me to like get a lap dance in the back room, and I'm like,
Mm.
nah, I'm good. Like,
Right. Like, that's not what I'm here for, babe.
yeah.
That's
Well, first of
crazy.
all, I will just say this.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably like my biggest sort of like, because some
Pet
ways
peeve?
through like through like doing this podcast, I've somewhat become involved with the stripper community in a
Mm-hmm.
way and like speak out. I think it's an injustice that strippers have to pay to perform and don't get at least minimum wage for tipped performers when
Right.
they're on stage. That
Right.
to me is insane.
It
Like,
is insane. Like, it really is. And that's why I like Stiffies, because Stiffies, they actually, like, if you're on the schedule, you get paid for the day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we get paid 75. So if you're on the schedule, you'll get paid $75 cash at the end of the night. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is $50. So if you're on the schedule for those days, it's 50 at the end of the night plus your tips, because those are usually busy
yeah.
nights. Mm-hmm.
And see, that's how it should be. At least my view on that is if you're
Mm-hmm.
charging people a stage fee and you're and at
Insane.
least from and at least from my understanding of that, you also have to no, you don't. But it's like, so essentially if you're charging somebody, I don't know, $10 to perform, and let's just say they only make like $60 in tips that night, that means they technically only made $50 because
Because
they
you're
had to
taking
give you 10.
10%, literally.
Yeah. And it's like, to me, that says that the owner can't afford to have the dancers there, which means they shouldn't have dancers there.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lord knows, the minute I have to pay to perform somewhere, like this is why I know I'm gonna stay independent that whole time. Because the minute
Right.
somebody tries to tell me, okay, to perform at this event, you have to front us the money, I'll be like, fuck off, pay me my money.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
It's like I'm not above. Here's my thing: I'm not above working for free. I'm not above working for tips. But it's like,
You know your worth.
don't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So where am I? Oh, so how have you reacted when people have inappropriately touched you?
How have I reacted? I just really back away from them, and I keep my distance, and I kind of
Yeah.
analyze them, because I realize that some people, they're like really drunk, really obliterated. So I kind of like keep my distance from them and, look where their hands are going, be very vigilant towards them.
Yes. I've only had it happen once.
Hmm.
It was actually at Parliament House. It was
Okay.
when I had like come back after I had like moved back here. I was just visiting. So I was like performing, and then like there were other performers at the like place. So like when I wasn't, and they didn't have a backstage in the bar that I was working at. So it's like I was just sitting among the audience when I wasn't performing. I had some drunk motherfucker come up to
Mm.
me, and I will say this: the drag queens doing the like flips and splits and shit,
Hmm.
their wigs are bobby pinned in.
Mm.
I know how much my head's gonna move. My wig's just on my head.
Right.
So I had some drunk motherfucker be like, "I want to see you without your wig," and just.
What the fuck? That's
Mm.
so disrespectful.
And I'm thinking, I'm like, baby, you're lucky I'm in a good mood tonight, because if not, I would be untying this platform shoe and it'd be going right upside your head.
Yup.
But see,
Wow.
yeah, see, I get it. It's like I'm gonna say it, like anyone who's been on here, anyone who like I'm friends with, I will say this: if I'm at Stiffy's and you try and do shit to this bitch, you try and do shit to Cloud, you try and do shit to Justify, and like
Right.
I see you do it, I will cuss you out, like, because it's like,
Like, for real.
because the hardest thing is, well, okay, you would know this. Are there trappers who work at Stiffy's?
Trappers in sense of like people who sell flour.
No. Oh, so trappers are, they're essentially people who are hired to perform, but
Hmm.
they're also negotiating what can be done after.
Hmm. What do you mean if they control like what goes on after?
As in,
Like,
okay, fine. I should just be they're dancers who have no problem with people soliciting them to pay for sex afterwards.
oh,
Yes.
I mean, at Stiffy's, no.
Yeah.
I have not seen that at Stiffy's whatsoever. But at La Boy, yes. Even for my audition, yes.
Yeah.
The boy that was dancing with
Of
heels at La Boy, he was solicited for sex by a bisexual couple, straight bisexual couple. Um, and they were the only ones throwing a lot of money at him. And then at the end of the night, he said, "Oh, I'm going with them. They're paying me for X, Y, and Z." And we were like, "Okay, girl, have fun, get your bag."
well, see, the reason I'm asking that is because like I've had a trapper on here before, and it's like
Okay.
what people don't understand is that trappers and go-go's work at the same clubs. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you finger one person's hole, they're gonna be fine with that. You finger another person's hole, they're gonna want to sock you in the face. Like,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and
Now,
it's just
Stiffies has a problem with that. Stiffies has a problem with people with the dancers being touched. Mm-hmm. Yep.
it.
Yeah, a lot of dancers complain about it. Mm-hmm.
We'll see. The I know you don't want to, as like a bar owner, want to constrict people, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like, in truth, honestly, wearing a jockstrap as a go-go dancer is not something you should do. It's just
Right.
it doesn't. I understand jockstraps look cute. They do. They
Mm-hmm.
look
But it's for the
amazing.
bedroom.
Or if you're gonna do it, it's like get you a jock thong combo where it's like you have like the triangle in the middle, so it's like you're at least a little
Right.
covered, because it's like
Mm-hmm.
I heard like that thing of, oh, at Stiffies they make you wear a bandana if you wear a jock strap, like out of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, but what's a bandana literally gonna do other than not having you see the hole? Nothing.
And the thing is, it doesn't really cover because a lot of them don't even put that bandana in the back. They'll put the bandana on the side of the thong or the jock strap. They'll leave the
Yeah.
back open, but then they still have the thing on the side. So if they get called out, they just put it in the back. But like they don't get called out, and no one says anything. You know.
That is interesting.
And there's even like a flyer in the changing room that says, according to Florida law, you know, if you're gonna wear a jock strap, it cannot show this and this and that. But a lot of the dancers, almost every night that I go, someone is wearing a jock strap, and they're just showing everything. I know I wear a thong or, a little swimsuit piece, you know.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like, yes, people. I don't know. Maybe again, maybe it's from me interviewing so
Mm-hmm.
many go-go dancers. It's like, as I've explained to people, even if it's somebody I knew,
Mm-hmm.
just to touch their ass, like just touch it, like
Mm-hmm.
not try and go like near the hole or anything, just like kind of like caress their ass. I'm gonna ask their permission before I do it. Like
Right.
that's just that's my way of doing things. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like if you're like showing something, or it's like if you're twerking in my face as like I'm putting the money in. No, I wouldn't even do it then. I'd still ask, because it's like,
Right. Consent.
yeah, consent. And like a lot of people think they just have invitations to do whatever they want. It's like,
Exactly.
this is still a person. Like,
Mm-hmm.
granted, yes, they're on stage performing for you. They're trying to make money, but it's like that doesn't mean that like any sense of like logic should just like go out. Well, I don't even say it's logic. It's not logic. It's there's people are like, I would say some of them know what they're doing. Some of them are probably just too horny, and it's like if you're too horny, it's like calm your ass down. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you get yourself too excited, tip the dancer, walk away,
Mm-hmm.
go jerk off in the bathroom, and like come back out.
Right. Like go somewhere and take care of that.
Which I would never suggest that, because that's illegal and you definitely shouldn't do that. Fucking do what you
Right.
want.
Right.
I've this will actually go into my next question. So have you ever hooked up with someone who tipped you?
No, I have not. I have not. Not really interested in it, mainly because I am in a relationship. And second, even if I
Yeah.
wasn't, I just wouldn't because it's Orlando.
Well, okay. I wouldn't do it now. I have done it before, but it's like I wouldn't
Hmm,
do it
right. I mean, that's just your
now.
experience.
Well, it's like, first of all, as I tell people, I used to perform at Parliament House. Like
Mm,
that was the thing where like a lot of times it's like if you weren't at the beach, you were in the field, like parking lot out, like
right.
doing stuff. And my thing is like one of the guys like there's this guy who like 6 or 7 times asked me if he could like suck my dick after I performed. And it's like who am I to turn down a free blowjob?
Right. Right.
And then the other time was actually that same night that my wig got ripped off.
Mm.
Some guy hit me up on Grinder, and he's like, granted, my Grinder wasn't in my drag profile, and then he found out I was in drag, and he got even turned on more, and then that's when he
Oh
went and fucked
wow.
me in the fucked me in the parking lot, and then he only went like 5-10 minutes, and then like he got nervous, and I'm thinking, he's like, somebody's coming. I'm like, bitch, we're doing this at night. Like they're probably pulling up to you next to you to do the same fucking thing you're here
Right. Plus, it's Parliament House. Like, come on now.
doing.
Like, who are you fooling?
But you were right. It is so. Well, see, my thing was when I lived there, I didn't get as much of the like guys that everybody else had, because it's like being a thicker bitch who lived in the hood. I was primarily with like black guys, so like,
Right. Period.
Lord,
I'm so dead.
that's why. What was it? Somebody's like, you'll have no problem in Detroit. I'm like,
Oh my god.
well, this is one thing, my man. We're getting into this next question. He's like,
No, you're good.
so I found out this weekend. He's like, because I thought we were closed, and then all of a sudden he's like on Grinder talking to me, talking about all this stuff. I'm like, what you doing? And
He's
he's
out
like,
here trying to be mysterious.
well, no, he told me, he's like, we're in an open relationship. I'm like, we are. I'm like,
Mm.
because 2 weeks ago you said you got jealous when you wanted us to do a 3-way, and it's like, I thought
And
that
now
meant
he's
we were
switching up.
closed, and
Right.
I'm like, well, his thing is, it's not that I'm opposed to an open relationship. I
Right.
barely have time. I barely have time to have sex with my man. I don't have time to be looking for somebody else on the side.
Right.
Too, I'm motherfucking busy. Like,
Right.
so actually, yeah, that just leads me to my next question. So, what's your dating life been like?
So I've been with the same man for like 4 or 5 years, literally. Um, literally for the last 4 or 5 years. We live together. This is our third home together. Um, yeah, it's been pretty great. We've been together for a really long time. We have, I have a dog, a cat, and a snake. I have a snake too. Um, yeah, pretty much. I don't really date other people, but I do go on dates.
You you don't date other people, but you go. So what's that mean? You like go out to somebody just for like free dinner and like.
Right. Right.
I mean, the only reason. Well, this was the thing with us. We had been like friends with benefits for so long that like. We started. Well, I started developing feelings. He started developing feelings. He's like.
Right.
His like first plan was like, when he heard I was moving to Detroit, he's like, you don't want to move to Orlando? I'm thinking, no offense if no offense to people
He
from
lives
Orlando.
here?
No. He wanted to move to Orlando. No, he lives near me. No offense to people from Orlando. Orlando's a fucking armpit. Like,
it is. It's crazy. That's why I'm trying to leave. I'm literally trying to go to Fort Lauderdale. Like, where the money at?
Well, because the thing is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong about it, there are only three clubs. There are only 3 gay clubs in Orlando, right?
Savoy, Southern / Stiffies, and I'm not sure if Barcode. Well, Barcode, but
well, Barcodes is the third bar I was talking about. Yes.
Yeah, Barcode. But I don't know if they have dancers there. I'm not
They
sure.
don't have dancers. They don't have dancers.
They
there.
don't. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so that's 3.5.
Mm-hmm. I wish they had more. I really do. Like Orlando has so much potential, but mm-mm.
It's because they jacked up. See, this was the thing. Orlando used to be affordable. Like
Mm-hmm.
legit, this just shows you like, and believe it or not, when I say these prices, you can actually still get apartments for this price in um Detroit. So like
Mm.
when I was living in Orlando, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment and I was paying $750 a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad, low key.
No, it's no, it's not. Like, and as I said, you cannot do that in Orlando now. The cheapest apartment is like 900. Like,
Literally. And that's if you're like in the hood. Like that's really if you're in the hood.
well, clearly I didn't mind. Let me put it this way: I lived. So you're in the city, right? So I can actually tell you
Hmm.
which neighborhood I lived in. So the majority of the time I lived in the city, I lived between Paramore and Westmoreland.
Okay.
So the hood.
But you're so close to downtown.
Yeah. And then like for like 2 months I lived in Pine Hills.
Oh wow. Okay. Not Pine Hills.
And that apartment I actually got kicked out of. I got kicked out of that apartment for a BS reason.
Why?
But I'm actually kind of glad because it's like had I not gotten kicked out of Pine Hills, I probably would still be in Orlando struggling versus
Right.
like being in small suburb Florida planning on moving to Detroit. This is my other thing. The one of the other reasons I hate Florida, it takes so long to get out of Florida.
Oh my God. Don't even get me started on that. It's so true.
Because like I used to do back and forth. So I lived in Orlando twice.
Hmm.
Between the first and the second time, I actually thought I was going to move to Atlanta, which was nice. And then again, Atlanta was affordable back when I was trying to do this, but it took 12 hours
Mm.
to get from where I'm at in Florida to Atlanta.
Mm-mm-mm.
And by plane is honestly not much
Hmm.
better. I mean, like
Right. Mm-mm-mm.
as I tell people, visit Florida all you want.
Right.
But I mean, Fort Lauderdale will probably be cute. You'll probably do it for a few years, and then like
Right.
honestly, I would tell you like if you're planning on leaving Florida,
Hmm.
Detroit is honestly great for go-go and stripping. Like,
You think so? Like for male?
oh yeah,
Really?
and
That's crazy because if
yeah,
you move out there, we actually. So I'm going back to the boy May, beginning of May. But
yeah,
we want to go to like different states and dance. Like we want to go to TMC Dallas because they have the mining company that's
yeah,
a gay strip club out in Dallas. Then they
yeah,
have the Abbey. Then they have other places. So we're actually trying to like scout these clubs. So now that you're saying that Detroit is good, girl.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I also actually weird enough, I have a drag queen contact who also does stripping events as well. So
In
like,
Detroit.
yeah,
Okay, period.
yeah, yes, yes. This is the thing where I like this is my thing where like I want to help people because like I'm so used to not having
Mm.
contacts where it's like it's like, oh yeah, I now have this person, that person. I literally have somebody who's like, if you want to, I have a photographer who's like, just let me know when you want to do like a photo shoot for your album, and then I'll make it work. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, this is making my life so much easier. I mean, granted, that's literally what I love about this. It's like I get to know people, and it's like, um, when I see certain people struggle, it's like they're no longer just that person I used to fantasize about. This.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no, that's my friend. It's like I literally I say this, like I posted this publicly, and I do mean it. It's like anyone who's ever like graced this podcast, it's like if ever you're going through something, literally talk to me. Like
Right.
I will
I
like
feel that vibe from you.
yeah, because
I
I've
love that.
yeah. I mean I've done it. I've had to struggle through a lot of stuff myself, but I'm also the person who, and I say this story, when I told this to somebody, they thought I was crazy, but it's like, I mean, granted, I didn't have nice stuff, so I guess that's why I didn't mind this, but like, there were like a few different times I took in, like, well, actually, we're not going to count people I had sex with. So, like, there was one time I took in, like, I used to take in this, like, homeless couple who was, like,
Mm-hmm.
who like didn't have a place to stay, and I'm like, listen, I'm like, they ended up like cleaning up my apartment, which actually suited me well because I was like working all the time, and I'm like, as long as you like leave when I go to work, and like you can come back at the end of the night and like sleep, because it's like,
Yeah.
and people like, and I've had Christians tell me this before. They're like, that was so dangerous. I'm like, y'all believe in the Bible? Isn't that what Jesus did?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, granted, was it dangerous? Yes, but again, I was living in the hood.
Right. It's the intention that matters. You had a
Yeah.
pure heart, and not everyone can see that, and nothing happened to you because you had a pure heart. So they're bugging.
Yeah. Like, that's the kind of person I am. It's like sleep on my couch. It's like
Right.
figured out. Like,
Right.
because I've been there, because I've been homeless before. I actually like. Before we get to the last questions, my beginning and my end, I was actually homeless for both in Orlando.
Mm.
Like, literally my first month and a half there.
Mm.
At one point, my sister like had an apartment. She lived in Orlando. Like, she had an apartment. Her roommates and her had like moved out of their apartment, but they had like a lease finished for the week. And like, I went in an air mattress and like slept in an air mattress in like her apartment. And it's like, it was a place to stay. Like, when I didn't have when I needed to use the internet, I went down to like a McDonald's down the street, and like
Right.
from there for like the rest of the time I was hotel hopping
Mm.
till I landed in the hood.
Mm.
And then like I had to do the same thing my last like 2 weeks in Orlando, because I got kicked out, but I needed my PTO money from my job, so I had to like
Mm.
move all my shit into my dad's house, have him drop off my U-Haul, drive back 2.5 hours to go work my next shift in Orlando, and I did that for 2 weeks, so I eventually got my money. So it's like, I understand being homeless. It's like, I wouldn't want anyone to have to struggle through that the way that I had
Mm-hmm.
to.
Right. Right. Wow.
Yeah. So okay, where am I? Oh, so what's your relationship to drugs and alcohol?
My relationship to drugs and alcohol. Um, I smoke. I during the day I work at a dispensary. So
Yeah,
I actually work at a medical marijuana dispensary, and I'm surrounded by weed all the time. I smoke almost every day. Other than other drugs, I don't really do other drugs like that. Now, alcohol, I can drink here and there, socially. If I'm dancing, at Stiffy's, I'll drink here and there because we actually get two free drinks per
yeah.
night or per shift. So I'll maybe get one, maybe not, depends. I'm not really a fan of alcohol like that, but yeah, I'm more of a smoker than a drinker.
See, hmm. I don't really do drugs. It's not like my thing is I'm not opposed to doing stuff. I would just want to
Mhm.
be with somebody who like I knew and
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
I knew what they were giving me and like what's in it because it's like especially now almost everything I would say probably excluding weed. I don't know if it is, but it's
Mhm.
like almost everything's laced with fentanyl.
Right. Right.
And
Mhm. There's a whole
those
like epidemic right now going on with fentanyl.
yeah, and it's like those people who like, oh, I'm just gonna take drugs from this guy. I met him 2 hours ago. I'm thinking, are you nuts?
You're literally insane. Like what the
Like people who
fuck?
do that, I'm like, it's like I get like back in the 70s and 80s when people did that. It's like because you knew you were getting pure shit back then.
Right. And they used to carpool and do all this back in the day and hitchhike.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
So it's like drugs, alcohol. I rarely drink. I
Mm,
definitely don't drink when I perform, only because there was a night. So I was performing in Lantana, which is like an hour north of or sorry, an hour south of where I am. So it's like
mm,
it was a night where like these people were just buying me drink after drink after drink after drink.
mm,
I had like as I figured it was like 4 to 5 drinks and then like a shot on top of that. And it's like and then I got in my car
mm.
and I had to drive an hour home, as I said.
Oh wow.
And then about 45 minutes into the ride, I got pulled over by a cop.
What?
And then, like,
Mm-mm-mm.
luckily, my dad came and saved my ass. Otherwise, I would have gotten a DUI. But it's like
Mm,
that kind of stopped me from doing it when I performed. Is also my view is it's like I'm a singer. It's better for me to be having water and green tea anyway, because like
right.
what people don't realize is that alcohol dries out your throat.
Right. Mm,
So it's like now I don't. I mean, I'm actually surprised for you as a go-go dancer for you to say that because it's like
right.
most of the time I hear go-go dancers who are like, yeah, I gotta get fucked up, and I mean like
Oh my
I
god.
get it
Right.
because again, when you have people like fingering your ass, grabbing your dick, like
Right.
just,
So they're trying to lose their inhibition to all these things.
but it's like at the end of the day, it's like
Like be present.
um yeah, well it's
Right.
this is my thing where it's like first of all it's like be present. It's like
Right.
second of all it's like all those drinks you're drinking. I know somebody who worked out in Seattle who like was a go-go dancer, like somebody who drinks a lot. They were drinking. They ended up getting drugged by the owner of the club,
Oh my god.
and they got raped.
What,
So like,
what the fuck? That's actually insane. Because first of all, it happens all the time and it's sad, but like
yeah,
the owner of the club,
yeah,
like that's insane. That's actually insane to me. Like that is like so like it means that it probably regularly happens, honestly.
I know, and it's like with that, it's like and I said that I mean, granted, not saying that like granted being raped overall is horrible and like
Right.
it's awful, but it's like in some ways being drugged would be a little bit it's gonna sound weird that I'm saying this. It's almost like a little bit better because it's like you can't remember it
Right.
versus like
Like less on the victim.
yeah, where it's like versus when I got raped, I was stone cold sober, so I was fully awake and like conscious for everything.
Right. Mm.
And it's like this well the thing that I tell people is like the thing was it hurt not only because like he was going he was trying to go hard, but he was also trying to go in with no lube.
Mm. I see.
And I'm like, that's why like I'm the biggest advocate for don't blame victims. Sometimes you get put in situations like the time
Right.
I was sexually assaulted, I was literally coming home from a gig. Like
Right.
I was coming home from a gig, like again, Parliament House was not in that safe of a neighborhood. It was like I was just walking to my car
Right.
and like some guy basically just like invited himself in my car and then like eventually he did all this shit and like
Wow.
yeah, did what he wanted. It's like to that I have to say it's like so many people feel like, oh well, why didn't you just call the cops? Why didn't you do this? I'm like or like why didn't you go to the police? It's like for that stuff, it's like you want to say all that stuff, but it's like when something's happening to you, everything happens like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's true.
Yeah. So
Um,
totally. So, what are your thoughts on how the LGBT community is being treated today?
how they're being treated today.
Yes.
Um, I do feel like there is some sort of inclusivity, but we're just not there yet. Like, I feel like a lot of people are still misunderstanding what the LGBT community is, what they do, the struggles. Like, a lot of people are still misunderstanding that, and they're kind of just experiencing the glorification and freedom that or should I say, the more freedom we're getting now. So I feel like,
Yes.
other people are experiencing the freedom that we're experiencing now, more inclusivity, but they're just not understanding the
Yes.
struggle. So they're just focusing more on the freedom now than like the struggle that's happened for like millions of years.
See, that is so true, and a lot of people haven't brought that up. I will say, in terms of the United States,
Hmm.
it's about as good as it's gonna get now, which is
Literally.
sad. Which is sad, but it's like listen, I get it when like you hear about the story of the trans person getting killed, the non-binary person getting killed. I'm
Right.
like, yes, I get that that's a problem, but we have a bigger problem over here when you look at the Middle East, who people are just getting killed for being gay. They're not even being
Right.
killed for like fuck being trans. Like they're getting murdered for being gay, and it's like
Right.
with that, it's like everyone's like it's I feel it's the United States' responsibility because the
Absolutely.
United States puts themselves as like the world's police. That's what they should be helping. They shouldn't be trying to help the Israeli and Palestinians kind of like stop the like conflict that they've been fighting at for hundreds of thousands of years. It's like at the end of the day, it's like
Right.
don't get yourself involved in that. It's like you can
We have so
stop
many
this.
issues too within the country, and he's just not paying
Yeah,
attention to it.
that is literally
Like
it's so
real
true.
tea.
It's like it's like the fact that in the year 2024 we're still having the debate of people not having health insurance
Mm.
given to them through the government. It's like everyone says, but we can't do it like Canada. We can't do it like Great Britain. We're bigger than they are. It's like I'm sorry. We're paying taxes.
Right.
It's like
It's doable. We just don't want to.
yeah,
We just don't want to.
it's not we don't want to. It's
Well,
the
the government.
officials don't want to. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
that's why when people like say, "Oh, I wouldn't want to do sex work. I wouldn't want to sell drugs." I'm like, "Why? You're keeping 100% of your profits and
Right. Mm-hmm.
that but they're like but they're not paying taxes." I'm like, "Look at what paying taxes is getting us.
Right.
Nothing. It's
Yeah.
it's paving roads. Like that's if you put it that way, it's paving roads and it's like building parks. That's the
Right.
only thing that you could see your tax dollars as a person actually contributing to.
Right.
Or as some people say, it's like, but also food stamps for people. I'm thinking, listen, have y'all seen inflation? Like, food stamps are not ridiculous. Like, the fact that I would say half the country isn't on food stamps based on the way things are now is shocking to me because it's like, let's get real. Like, going back to, as I point out with people, like in Detroit, it's like, when I moved there, will I theoretically be making less money than I am now? Probably. But it's like the cost of living will equate to what the minimum wage is. Because it's like,
Right.
let's get real. Like in Florida, you cannot afford as a single person to live on $15 an hour. Like
Yep.
anywhere.
Exactly. Anywhere. Literally. That's so true.
It's like you're in an apartment with your man. Like you would not be living by yourself probably if your man wasn't there with you.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Literally. Because it's just not doable with one person in today's economy.
No. It was like even what is it? There's some places where like you are only getting paid $7.25 still.
Yeah.
And
Literally.
it's like
Literally.
you work in how many jobs? Like
And
because
how many hours? It's not adding up.
as I say with that, I could never do that because it's like I am one of those people like in terms of work, I work to make money. It's like there's some people I work near where it's like they have problems at the job and they like bring it home. It's like I'm too motherfucking busy for that shit. Like
Literally.
I'm like the problems I leave once I get my check, once I clock out, bye bye. I
Yep.
got I got to do my own shit and like survive. Like
Right.
as entertainers, because it's like everyone's like entertainment's something we don't need. I'm like, first of all, yes, I understand that argument of like, yes, you don't theoretically need entertainment to like have sustenance to survive. Like, it's not like air, it's not like food, it's not like water. I understand that. But it's like, let's get real. If you got rid of entertainment, you'd have motherfuckers shooting each other up every day because there'd
Mhm.
be nothing to do.
Mhm.
That's why
Right.
they used to do that back in olden times because there's no sort of like no form of entertainment.
Right. Nothing to
Yeah,
entertain the people.
exactly. All right, and to my final question: what's the biggest misconception about you?
Biggest misconception about me. Um, biggest misconception. I would say this is a hard question. Biggest misconception. I guess for me, it would be people not realizing the power that I have. Like, when you meet certain people, their brain can only understand a certain level of power. Like they think that, like, say for example, 60% is like the max that their brain can understand of power. But if I'm at 100, you can only understand 60. So I would say that, like, that would be the biggest misconception about me, like certain people not being able to see like my full potential because their brain just can't wrap around it.
Wow, that's first of all, I've never had somebody say that, but it's like it's so true. It's like
But it's the T.
in all honesty, it's like especially when you have people around you, it's like that's why I know I want to move because it's like I see other people's lives around me, and it's like I don't want your life. I want my life because like my life is
Exactly.
amazing and like fabulous. It's like I've gotten a chance to like meet all these like gr- great people, and it's like
Hmm.
from
Connections,
that,
networking.
yeah, it's like I see people who like don't strive for more, and it's like
Mm.
I understand that striving for more means that you're gonna have to put in the work and you're gonna have to make sacrifices. I get that, but it's like,
But is it not worth it, babe? Like,
yeah,
it's definitely worth it.
it's like when I get to that point of um working so hard to get a guess and like feeling fulfilled at the end of the day, it's great. Now, granted, sometimes people like turn me off. The one thing that turns me off is like people who ask for money, especially like
It's giving
depending
very
on
much panhandler.
yeah, it's like for people who are in interview like the craziest amount I had somebody ask me for one time, they asked me for $1,000.
And it was someone that you had interviewed?
It's somebody who I was looking to interview. They're like,
Mm.
it's gonna cost you this much, and I'm like, I'm not interested. Like,
Yeah, like this is about networking here, babe. This is about meeting This is about exposure.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially, it's like, granted, it's like, yes, you were like, it was a porn star. It's like, yes, it's like, granted, you've gotten to like a high level, but it's like, for me, I was looking at it, I'm thinking, baby, you were like popping 10 years ago,
right. Oh,
9,
wow.
10 years ago. And it's like, now you still think you're up here. Or the most recent one was $100. I said no to this person as well, because it's like,
Right.
they're like, it was somebody who was on the show for the love of DILFs.
Mm.
I'm thinking, baby, a year ago nobody knew who you were. Like,
Mm.
it's
Real.
like it's like you sit there with like your fucking 4,000 followers just because you've been on TV, like you all of a sudden think that like you're worth this. It's like,
Mm. I'm crying.
yeah. See, this
That's
will.
crazy.
I'm not gonna help when I say my two. One is that I've been told I'm intimidating,
Mm.
which, I mean, I get it. Like, I'm not the smallest person in the world. Like, I'm 6'3". Like, I know I'm a
Okay,
big bitch.
period.
It's like,
I'm
but it's
dead. I'm
like,
like I'm 5'1".
yeah,
Oh my god, period. I love that though.
yeah. But it's, but I will say this: you also, so you're only 5'1". Like, I would have figured at least like,
No, I'm literally 5'1". Like literally five. Yeah, 5'1". Literally, that's crazy.
see, this is the weird thing that I will say. I'm getting into the second one in a minute, but it's like,
Mm.
for some people who look, I feel like 5'1's a weird one, because it's like, there's some people who like, you can clearly tell they're short, but it's like,
Mm.
there are other people that seem just like they have like this bigger presence about them, and it's like,
Right.
when I looked at them, and who was it? It was Ricky Roman. I found out he was 5'9".
Mm.
I figured he was at least like 5'11",
Oh wow.
maybe 6 feet, and I looked. I'm like, but it's
He
that
was.
thing of, it's like, but granted, I don't. What was it? Somebody asked like, when we were talking about sex,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, so how have you? It's like, listen, I'm just speaking like population wise. It's like, I've been with guys as tall as like 6'7",
Mm.
but I've been with guys as short as like slightly taller than you. I've been with people as short as like 5'3". So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, it's like, welcome to the population. It's like, the
Right.
population's, the average height is 5'9". So it's like, if I was only with
Mm-hmm.
people who were like 6 feet plus, it's like, numbers would be way diminished. So it's like, you got to be open.
Exactly. Exactly. Because what are the chances of, like you were saying, average, and then your height, and then height that
Yeah.
you.
And then what was the other one? Oh, the other one is that I'm been told I'm shady. Mm,
No, I don't think you're shady or
no,
mean
thank you. It's, well, cause
whatsoever.
thank you. It's
It's
because
because if
like,
they can't handle the kitchen, if you can't handle it, he don't play in the kitchen.
yeah. It's
That's all I
also,
got.
it's like, if I did, my feeling is, I wouldn't be a musician if I didn't have opinions. It's like,
Mm-hmm. Because that's what stands you out as an artist.
exactly, like
Period.
all these,
It's giving. I'm gonna have to like link up with you down there and go to your location. Go to your area.
yes, yes, I would say, well, because here's my thing. My thing would be like,
Mm-hmm.
go to Detroit, make this album, and like, if I find the right person, if Florida will have me back, I will come back and do like a show because it's like my view is those cute little 1-2 numbers are nice, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like you don't start like feeling the adrenaline, at least for me as a musician, until you're like at least 30 minutes in,
Mm-hmm.
like 2025. Like these cute little two numbers, it's
Right.
like,
You're
yeah,
just warming up.
it's like that bitch could only do that. It's like that's because she was like death dropping and splitting and like almost broke her legs, like
Mm-hmm.
trying to perform. It's like I'm I'm never gonna do something where like I wasn't confident with it. And it's like I know I can't do a split. I don't want to do a split. Like I'm good doing what I do actually to my drag. I have a drag sister around here, like, and she told
Okay.
me she's like okay, she's like if you're gonna perform around here, you have to lip sync and wear a dress. And my exact reaction was, why the fuck would I do that?
Right. That's
That's what
so confining.
that well, that's because it's like that's what y'all do. It's like let
Right.
me do me.
Right. And that's the point of drag is to all be different. Why would they
Yeah.
all be the same? Like,
It's just
that's
like with Go
crazy.
Go's. Y'all shouldn't be the same. Like if
Exactly.
everyone who's like I'm only into this. My thing is, and I say this wholeheartedly because it's true. I've wanted to fuck almost every guest that's been on here, so it's like clearly I don't have a type. Like
Hmm.
I've had people who are like very cute and twinky, like you. I've
Hmm.
had guys who are like, and first of all, it's like black, white, Hispanic, like all this stuff.
Hmm.
It's like when people who are like, I am just into this. It's like
Hmm. Right. Be
it's like the
for
it's like well, first of all, my thing is like it's 2024. Like, come on
real.
now. Like
Right. Right.
dating inside your own race, like
He's
it's like what is this, the
wild.
50s? Like
No, because that's like the literally how it is at Stiffy sometimes. Because like we all know like the common theme that's going on in Stiffy, so we kind of just ignore it, but at the same time we're like it's unfair, but at the same time, because we had many instances where a lot of us are like trying and we're actually like dancing and doing this and doing that, but then we'll see someone else who's a certain race and it's being more preferred by the so basically the way that Stiffies works is like management also is there like every night and is part of the crowd too. Like management will show up and like sit where like the stools are and like friends of management. So management will like favor certain dancers because they look a certain way and they just like tip the dancer like repeatedly just from them just sitting there, and then other dancers we kind of realize like, oh, it's favoritism, but we know why it's favoritism. But yeah, they have a little thing like that going on at Stiffies. Hmm.
see
And it's real shady sometimes, not gonna lie, like it's real shady. But like I said, like I only go there to get my money, and I still like perform there every Monday. Like I literally go there every Monday. And literally, I just got a message. That's funny. Like during the interview, I just got a
yeah.
message from Addison, my house mom. He's like, "Oh, it's just coming on Wednesdays too." So now I'm gonna be there twice a week. So no one's gonna stop me from making my bag. Regardless of what opinions and stuff. Because I've had at least like two people come up to me from the crowd, not even from management, not even like dancers, but they'll just come up to me and they'll be like, "Hey, like, just we like what you're doing, keep going, like we support it. If you hear like people talking, just ignore them, just side eye them." And it's because like people talk a part of management if they don't like certain people and they like let it be known, but then like they actually talk that like guests and like regular people that come to the bar here and they just come up to you and say that to you. And it's happened to other dancers too, like not just me.
No, and it's with that. It's like for me.
Oh,
I don't know if this happens at Stiffy's. I wouldn't imagine so. Maybe it does.
mm-hmm.
It's like the shit of straight dancers working in the club.
Mm, it does happen. Especially Savoy especially.
And for me, with that, it's like I have never understood the like fascination with, oh, he's straight.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to fuck me. Like
Right.
that's never been my thing. It's like
Same.
you could be as like masculine as you are, or it's like you can be as feminine as you are. It's like at
Exactly.
the end of the day, what I'm attracted to is what I'm attracted to. I
Mm-hmm.
really don't have one either way. It's like that thing of it's like I need guys to be super masked. Granted, I'm used to super masked guys, but
Mm-hmm.
that's although my man kind of like rides the line a little bit, which I like too. But it's like I'm used to dealing with super masculine guys again because like
Right.
it living in the hood, that's what you're taught to like. Especially like I
Right.
didn't lose my virginity till like I was in the hood living, and at that point I was in my 20s. It's like
Right.
when I'm used to seeing a certain thing, that's what I'm attracted to. This thing of like I don't know. I just say like straight people. It's like yes, we love allies. Allies are great.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Don't take our jobs. Don't take our jobs. Don't work in our
Right.
clubs. Like it's like
I literally get where you're coming from because like we've already had it hard enough, baby. It's already hard finding a real job out there. So, like yeah, I literally get what you mean. And that kind of plays a role with it always goes back to the theme of like mass guys who like, being more preferred at a club and certain people not appreciating the actual aspect of homosexuality, which is both feminine and masculine. But
yeah,
people have this like erotic fantasization of like what a gay relationship should be when it's not. It's just fluidity. But like you were saying, like the whole mask and straight aspect and how people trying to be fucked by it and you growing up in a certain area and that being
yeah.
like a certain point of view instilled because of that, derives from that.
Because with that, what was it? I saw somebody say like I don't know when people say like bro or dude to me, it's like to me if that's your version of flirting
Mm,
because it's like I say for gay people like straight people you want to call me whatever
right,
it's like sometimes I want to educate you but I just don't have the time
right,
but it's like that thing of um bro and dude from gay people it's like no just
just calm down.
yeah it's like
Right,
it's not hot it's like messy
right. That's crazy.
Yes. Anyway, with that being said, it was a pleasure getting to meet you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you too. We gotta keep chatting it up so we can meet up because I love to
Definitely.
travel and go to new places. So,
Yes.
yes, I would love to go to your area, see what the clubs are like over there, what's popping.
Well, we're going to Fort Lauderdale if we're going to my area. There's nothing here. There's
Okay.
literally no. That's why I have to go to Fort Lauderdale. It's all like even the drag queens here. The drag queens perform at like straight bars because there's not a single.
There's nothing over there for real, for real.
No, it's like the closest stuff is like West Palm Beach, and even like that, it's still
Mm,
a lot of the gay clubs have like closed there. So like more and more dancers
mm,
having to move, or more and more people, entertainers having to move down to Fort Lauderdale, which Fort Lauderdale is nice.
mm,
If I say that like Fort Lauderdale versus Miami thing, I like Fort Lauderdale better.
It's a little less chaotic. A little less chaotic.
And plus, Miami is just like so.
You think saturated?
It's not only it's saturated, but it's like so rich. It's like
Too too like fake rich, like
yeah.
no real abundance, like all flashy.
I mean, granted, I'll give it up to Miami. I love Palace. I
Right,
will
right.
absolutely go
We
back
love
there.
it.
But it's like other than that, it's like nah. For and plus, it's like I know people who perform in Fort Lauderdale more. It's like
Right. It's the hub. It's its own little
yeah,
hub out there. Mm-hmm. Because literally, when we were out there, it just felt like a good vibe, really, especially after the club.
yeah. I mean, with that, so well, I don't know. Do they have the rule at La Boy where you're like not allowed to film in there?
So, no, you're actually allowed to film there because the
Because
club guy, oh, he's always posting like stuff on Twitter constantly.
yeah,
He has like a cameraman recording and he's the cameraman too. Like they let people, record and stuff like that. They do. They do.
because at boardwalk they don't let you do it because it's like
Oh, really?
see with that is I don't understand that rule because at least for me
Mm-hmm.
when I know somebody it's like yes I'll sit there recording them but I'll tag
Right.
them in what they're doing. It's like that just gives more people a chance to expose them and then like they can repost what
Exactly.
I'm doing to like but they said no cameras. I'm
That's so
like
real.
well I don't know. This is just me
Mm-hmm.
as a performer. It's like
Yeah, you want the
it's
exposure. I'm the same
it's like
way.
I want the exposure and I'm used to it. It's like I am all for doing everything
Mm-hmm.
except this is my one thing. And this seems to me like something that's common sense, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not. Because I
Right.
had this happen to me. It's like if I'm performing at a place without a stage and I'm in the middle of performing, don't come up to me and ask me to take a picture. Like
Mm. Right.
with you. I had that
And you're
happen to me.
performing. That's crazy.
No, I had it happen to me at the straight bar I used to perform at in Orlando. I was like, I had my track playing. Like I had my iPod and like I was playing my song and I was going into I was doing "Do What You Want" by Lady Gaga. And it's like that's my like closing song, and I had somebody like walk up and she's like, "Oh my god, my daughter would just like love this," and she like took my picture and I smiled because it's like you can either be the rude bitch who's like, oh, I had this experience with Prince Electro Diamond. He basically was an asshole to me when I met
Right.
him. Or you could take the picture and like somehow just
tag
like
you and
recover from the just how somehow
right.
recover from and tag me,
Yeah.
which is what I will do. I just if no, don't do it. Like I was
Right.
gonna say I'll do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like
Right. Right.
come up to me,
It's just
especially
common
now.
sense. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
it's like give me 2 minutes. I'll retouch up my makeup when I'm done, and it's like
and I
I'll
have
take
all
the
the time in
picture
the
with
world
you.
for you.
Yeah, and it's
But-
just don't steal people's. Oh wait, I just remembered 2 more questions. I promise I'm gonna get it done after this.
That.
I didn't write them down. I'm sorry.
No,
So
you're
one of them
good.
is have you ever had someone steal one of your tips off of your body?
Not off my body, but I was dancing on stage. This was at Stiffy's once, and there was a
Yeah.
dancer next to me. And he was dancing next to me, but there was someone tipping me. The man had previously tipped him, but he already collected his
Yeah.
money, so there was nothing on the floor. So the man was just tipping me, and I was, picking up the tips. I didn't realize I left one, and I looked back, and then he just picked it up and then put it in his pocket. I didn't really mind that he did that, but I did. I was like, okay, a little shady, but
Yeah.
but I didn't. I was just like, okay, whatever. Maybe he needs it more, or something like that. You know, like and that's a situation where like A, I could have been like, hey, give me my money, or
Yeah.
B, like just let it slide. It's just $1.
Yeah. See, my answer with this one is very simple. It's like I'm singing live. If you're stupid enough to try and take my money, I'm holding a microphone. It's like I will be the bitch to sit there and be like, "Stop the
Right,
track. What the fuck
right.
do you think you're doing?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is going to be my final question.
That's
So,
so funny.
I mean, granted, you're in a relationship, so I don't know if you do this, but would you consider
Mm-hmm.
doing OnlyFans?
I would consider. I actually have one, but I have not been keeping up with it. If I have to be honest, my partner brought it up too, so we do plan on actually like getting more into it. Hmm.
See, I've always answered I probably would have done it a few years ago. My thing with it now is it's not like I'm opposed to people watching me having sex. It's the thing of having to separate being a musician with doing OnlyFans. It's like because you'd have to
Mm,
sit there and like constantly be like, "But I'm out here being an artist for them." But I saw you do OnlyFans. It's like, yes, but I'm an artist. I don't want to sit
mhm.
there and have to
Yeah, because some
go
people don't
through this
understand that
roundabout.
concept. They don't
No,
understand that concept. Hmm.
and I'm not saying you can't be an artist who has OnlyFans. Listen, I would understand it. The only time I say, going back to the example we had before, don't sit here as a person, as a musician, and be like, you're so evolved, or you have this evolution to where you're not doing stuff anymore and you go back to doing it. That's the only thing. It's like, if you're gonna
Right,
say as a musician you're gonna separate from OnlyFans, don't go back a few months to doing OnlyFans.
right.
Or if you
Hmm.
do, just say the simple fact of it's like, listen, I'm a musician.
Hmm.
I needed to pay my bills.
Right.
Which that to me is like for that I'm like, fine, fair, I get it. Like you got to make money,
Hmm.
but don't sit there and be like, I've evolved. I'm going back to being a model. First of all,
Mm,
evolution means you're supposed to be moving forward, not
right.
backward.
Hmm. That's true.
And if you're no longer my
Make that
friend,
up.
I will absolutely call you out on everything.
Period.
All right.
Instead of,
Anyway, with that being said, this is I am ending now. This is Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and I hope you've enjoyed.
Bye.
Bye. And...